My name is Deborah Heiser. I'm an applied developmental psychologist, and I'm on here today. I'm later than usual. I'm about an hour later than usual. So I'm sorry that I probably missed people that usually come on, but hopefully I'll get to meet some new people today. I talk about all kinds of things that are psychology related and mentoring related. So, as an applied developmental psychologist, I've always focused on midlife and aging, but the stuff I talk about does not apply just to midlife and aging. It applies to any age. And today I'm going to talk about mentorship and how we can mentor or be mentored in as little as 5 minutes. It's something that can be super helpful to us for both the mentor and the mentee, and it's an easy thing to do. So I'm going to talk a lot about that today. So welcome today. So again, 5 minute mentoring. Um, it is amazing that we are all one conversation away from changing someone's life. And we don't even know it. Most of us don't realize that it's that simple. So it might only take 5 minutes. It could be even less. It could be more, but we all have 5 minutes to give, and we all have 5 minutes that we can spare to get some information from somebody as well. So this is something that's pretty easy, and most of the time when people hear about this, they start doing it all the time. So let's see how it works out for you. So most people don't avoid mentoring because they don't care. That's not it at all. They avoid it because they think they're not qualified. Almost everybody I talk to thinks that they are not qualified in some way to mentor, that they must need training, that they're not successful enough, they don't have a big title, they're not rich, they're not an expert. But let me tell you something. Mentorship is not about having the right answers. It's about being one step ahead. That's the first thing. And second, everybody is qualified to be a mentor. So some of our biggest mentorship myths are that mentoring only happens in the workplace, that this is something that we only need to either get into a better college than we, hoped, get into a better school, get into an internship, get into a job, something like that. And that is not the most powerful place that we'll find mentorship. Mentorship is in our daily lives. It is passed down through religion. It is passed down through our traditions, our values. If you look at the holidays that are in front of us, where did those traditions come from that you practice? A lot of times it's from people in your family who've passed that down. If you practice a religion, you didn't make it up yourself. Where did that come from? For thousands of years, things get passed down. And that's mentorship. Hey, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you, Sweet Musical. So if we think about mentorship in that way, it's super easy to see yourself as an expert because you are an expert in something. It's either the values in your home, the values where you are out in the world. It could be your religion. It could be your culture. It can be all of those things. So, grandmas and grandpas are one of the biggest mentors we have out there. So don't think that you need a title. Don't think you need to wait to be a certain level of success or that you have to be wealthy. Expertise is everywhere. So we just have to remember that, because there are going to be people who are going to be really excited and have their lives changed by something that you share with them in as little as 5 minutes that is going to make them really change their life. So if you think to yourself, what is the number one reason that you think you don't qualify to mentor? Be honest with yourself and see if you can shift that way of thinking to find something that you are an expert in. And I'm going to put it down in, really simple terms. I remember, mentoring someone in graduate school. She didn't know a certain kind of statistics. So I did know it. She called me up and said, "Hey, can you teach me this statistics? I'm at my externship. I have a project I have to do. If I don't get this, they're not going to think I'm smart, and I'm afraid that I won't get a good recommendation letter." So I sat on the phone with her and I told her how to do it. I didn't do it for her. I couldn't. I was on the phone, but I showed her how to do it. And she had that knowledge forever and ever. It took me 5 minutes. This was nothing. I didn't think anything of it. Most of us wouldn't even consider that mentoring, but that is. So, how often have you helped out a friend when they said, "Hey, I need help. Can you teach me how to do something that you know how to do? Can you help me out with something that you know how to do better than I know how to do?" There's a ton of things that you know that somebody else doesn't. So, hey, everybody, I like seeing you in here. I'm probably going to be live for about a half an hour. So I came on later than I usually do. I usually come on about an hour earlier. So I'm probably going to get off at about 5:10. So hopefully you can stay on, or you'll be able to come back if you have to leave. So when we think of mentorship, think of things that are just simple that you're doing all the time. Because most of us don't think of this. And the one big thing that we miss out on is being able to quantify our impact. We don't realize that we actually make a big footprint in the world. Every time we do something for someone, no matter how small we think it is, it's not small to the other person. And so I'm an applied developmental psychologist. So I have a doctorate in psychology. So when we start to think of these things and we can then quantify our impact, we're able to say to ourselves, wow, I made a difference. And it's the tiny little things that we're adding up that actually make the big difference. We don't have to wait for that big moment that we are going to wait for to come along, that we can say, this is what I'm going to tack all of my impact onto. It doesn't work that way. I was founder and CEO of the Mentor Project, and I wrote The Mentorship Edge. It's a book that is out. And the one thing I found working with hundreds of mentors is that really it's the small things that add up. It's not one big thing. It's doing the little things that make a person or many people have a different viewpoint, that they have a different bit of knowledge, that they have a new expertise in their back pocket. It's moving everyone forward. And that's what the real impact is. And it makes people feel good when they can have that impact. So in 5 minutes, you're able to do that for yourself or get that from somebody else. So if you think to yourself right now, who might have mentored me? Now think to yourself, if an easy one is to think to yourself, do you practice a religion? Or do you have a culture that you adhere to? Do you have values that you adhere to? Well, most of us don't make all of that stuff up on our own, right? It gets passed down to us. Well, now who are you passing that on to? Do you exhibit kindnesses when you see other people? Do you open the door for people? Do you have a value that you say, I'm going to be kind to others in public? I'm going to open the door for somebody who's coming in after me into a building. You smile at people. Maybe you work to make another person feel good. That's a value, right? And most of us don't think of that as a form of mentorship, but that's modeling behavior. That's modeling how to promote a value. So if you have a certain value and you pass that on, you probably got it from somebody else. And then you can see how that lives on in others. Think of tiny little things because it's the long-term ripple effect that you want. And it's a social science. So you can, if you're getting an undergraduate degree in psychology, you can get a BA or BS, bachelor's in science, or a bachelor's in arts. But then you can go on to a bunch of different PhD programs from there, or I think master's programs as well. So when you think about mentorship and you start to think about the long-term ripple effect, think about, one time I used to work at a place and I went in and I was so amazed because everyone smiled at everybody. And this was in New York City and I wasn't expecting that. I was walking down the hall and people were smiling at me like I knew them. And I was like a little weirded out at first because I wasn't used to that. And then I realized that everybody did that. And so I then started to do that. It turns out that it was a long practice. It was a value within the company that people did that. And it made everybody feel really good. That was a long-term ripple effect that somebody started. They modeled it, they put it out there, and it kept going for years and years and years. So you might start something based on your values, and it has a long-term ripple effect that didn't take any time. Maybe every day you go in and you smile at somebody or hold the door open, and then that starts a ripple effect. These little things can add up, and they can change the way that a culture is in a company. They can change the way that people value things. So think to yourself some of the smallest things that you can that you would not have considered as something really making a difference, and then see if you can find a ripple effect that might have happened from that. So you might have felt like, wow, I accidentally mentored somebody. I didn't even know it. So humans, all of us are wired to pass something forward. It's a psychological term called generativity. And we hit this in midlife. When we're in midlife, we really want to be able to give back to others and pass things on. And the reason for that is it leaves a legacy for us. We then get to feel like we mattered in the world, like we weren't just here taking up space and time. So this developmental milestone called generativity is a biological drive to invest in the next generation, even if you never meet them again. So, we really seek meaning in things, and we seek being relevant. We seek having impact. And so we all try to do this, but we often don't realize how often we're doing it. We don't give ourselves credit for it. And that's what I think, if we think about even the tiny little 5-minute interactions that we have with people, we'll be able to see that we actually are making impact and we didn't even know it. So, have you ever felt an urge to help someone? Maybe a friend said, "Oh, I can't figure something out." And you said, "Oh, I want to help you." That's not random. That's hardwired in us. We're built to want to help others. We're built to want to build community. We're built to want to make sure that those around us have what they need, that they get what they need. So that is you being sort of built and wired to want to mentor, to do something to help somebody in as little as, 5 minutes or a tiny conversation that you might have. So think to yourself, what are you struggling with right now? What have you tried already? And what would success look like for you in 6 months? So think of these 3 things, because this is how you can start to look around you to see if you can find somebody who can help you out with these. Is there anything that you're struggling with right now? I'm always asking people about AI questions. I'm always struggling to move forward and learn more in AI. So I I don't keep trying. I ask somebody to help me. And success for me would look like, hey, I can manage some AI programming myself without some and get things going much more smoothly. So it could be anything that you want to do. It could be a hobby, it could be work, it could be school, it could be anything. And you can also notice when some of your friends or people in your family or colleagues are in need of help. Have you ever seen somebody that you can see they're struggling with something? Well, you can say, "Hey, how can I help you with that?" And likely you might know something that can help them. And there you go. You've got the 5-minute mentoring happening. So it's either that you can ask somebody else or they can ask you. But this is something that you can, if you're really intentional, you can start to map out what you'd like to have in 6 months. What does success in an area look like for you in 6 months? And the tiny little 5-minute conversations are often what lead to making you have that success. It doesn't have to be that one person is going to guide you to all of your success. Hi, Wasim. Good to see you. So this is something that we can easily do. We can easily work on. And nobody says, "Hey, what's that person doing? They're awkwardly asking me for help." No, it's saying, "Hey, I'm working on something. Do you know about this? Can you give me a hand? Can you give me some advice?" That sort of thing. So there are all kinds of myths that kill mentorship. I'm doing well. I hope you are too. And thank you for the you giving me the gift. Thank you. I appreciate you. So some of the myths are that mentorship has to be formal. No, it doesn't. Mentorship does not have to be formal. There is a whole myth out there right now. Mentorship, that term was sort of hijacked by corporate America, where it became something that is work related, and that it couldn't be farther from that. It's really, mentorship doesn't have to be formal. It shouldn't be formal. The first thing is that we should all be looking around and connecting with others. Another myth is that mentors must be older. I'm a Gen X. I have a um, Gen Z mentor. He's 21 and he taught me how to get on these platforms, social media, because I didn't know how to do it. And so this person is a mentor. I talk to him when I need help. I text him and he might text back. He does this. He's not paid. He does it because he wants to mentor. Another myth is that you need credentials. No, you don't. I mean, look, there could be the credential that you are a friend, that you are a relative, that you're a colleague. That's all you need. That's it. Or that you are a helpful person, that you're knowledgeable in something. It doesn't have to be that you have a credential. A lot of people will say, well, I don't have an advanced degree. You know what? My grandma mentored me in a ton of things, and she did not have an advanced degree. The culture and the values and the religion that we get passed down to us from other family members are not necessarily from credentialed individuals. Also, that there needs to be permission. A lot of mentoring happens and it seems like it's almost accidental, that somebody is asking for something or that somebody notices that somebody needs help and they just do it. It isn't something that they set out to look for. So, you have likely accidentally mentored somebody and you've likely accidentally been mentored by somebody. That is happening all the time. So, if we can bust through those myths, we have a really great opportunity to get a lot more mentoring for ourselves and for those that we know, because we're not going to be waiting around for just the right moment to start to mentor. So, there's a whole lot of different kinds of mentoring. One is reverse mentoring. That's the one that I talked about, how I have a 21-year-old mentor who's showing me how to get on social media. And it wasn't the tech part, like, how do I log in? How do I sign up? It was more like, I need to learn the culture of Gen Z. I live in a Gen X world and I need to learn the culture. I need to learn the values. I need to learn those sorts of things because in like my very first time coming out on live, someone called me Unk. I didn't even know what that was. I thought it was like UNC, the college or something. And I needed to really learn what that was because I clearly did not understand the culture of Gen Z. And so he was able to tell me what that meant and help me through that. So I was able to log in, do that kind of thing. It wasn't tech, it was that I needed to learn the culture. So it's also a mindset. As a Gen Xer, I had a mindset like, oh my gosh, I don't want anybody to see me going on here because everybody my age is going to be like, what in the world are you doing? And he was like, nobody cares. They don't care. They just don't. Well, he was right. There are people who are in my age range who were like, well, that's crazy that you're going on, you know, social media. Why? Do you want to become like a famous influencer? And I said, no. But I was able to see that most other people don't care. They're on anyway. And so it wasn't, I got over that. That was a cultural thing and a mindset that I needed to change. So younger mentors are reverse mentoring people in those areas all the time. And that's, if I were in sales and I'm a boomer, Gen X or millennial, and I want to sell something and I want to reach Gen Z, if I don't understand that culture, I'm not going to sell a single solitary thing to them. So that is where reverse mentoring comes into play all the time, because people need to understand the mindset, the culture of another generation. So it's a super important form and very powerful form of mentorship. Um, when we look at older mentors, we're getting a whole lot of how can you be resilient? So if I'm mentoring somebody, I can show them how you can get through all the difficulties of life. Here's how you can navigate difficult situations. Here's how you can navigate things that feel like they are failures that you might think I can't recover from that or something like that. Pattern recognition. How do you recognize patterns? And then you can have same age mentors, lateral exchange. This is where you look to your left and you look to your right, and you're getting mentored by those who are around you. This is at work, this is at school, this is at home, this is for anything. Those are lateral mentors. Every single entrepreneur has lateral mentors. They don't have anybody above them. They're starting something new. The tech revolution was full of lateral mentors, still is. All of entrepreneurs are engaged in lateral mentoring. They need to seek help from people who are lateral to them that have different areas of expertise than they do. So you can be mentored at any time by somebody older, younger, or the same age as you, and you can be doing it yourself in any of those scenarios. So as we continue on in this discussion, it becomes more and more that there's the pool widens in opportunity for mentoring. So the real reason that people avoid mentoring is not insecurity. It's a fear of um, really being irrelevant. So when a person is retiring, when a person hits a certain level in their career, divorce, empty nest, burnout, all of these things are reasons to get into mentoring, but people will often avoid it because change makes a person kind of want to shrink within and not go out and do things. But what it does is it reactivates the mentor. The person who's giving back in those situations is actually getting reactivated. They're able to feel relevant again. They're able to feel like they're any of their transitions that they're going for they're going to be okay. They get to feel like they have all kinds of meaning and value, that they're important in some way. And that's very important. So a lot of people will say, I feel too insecure to go out and mentor. I feel like, I'm in this transition, whatever, it's too much. But that's exactly what most people need in order to get through that transition. So you never age out of impact, you age into it. As we get older, we want impact. We need impact. We need it more than ever. We're checking boxes when we're younger. We're trying to get through things, do things, get to another level. When we're older, we're looking to say, did any of those things matter that I did? And do I matter? So if you're out looking to find a 5-minute mentor, like right now you said to yourself, I need to go find a 5-minute mentor. Here are some places. Go to work or school, right? And look at anybody around you who knows something or has something that you don't have in terms of knowledge, expertise, or values or culture or whatever. Look to online communities. Social media is a great place. You can learn a whole lot from people. And that's a modern form of mentorship. You don't have to meet with somebody one-on-one. And everyday interactions. So many times we are engaging with people and helping people, and we don't even realize it. And that's where you can get another one. So it's really all around us. So you don't even need to leave your house to find your 5-minute mentor. So if you feel like you have 5 minutes to give in your day, you have enough time to mentor or be mentored. So some of the things that mentorship helps is it helps us to not only gain knowledge, but it gives us insight into new things, and it drives a direction and a belief. So once you get some information from somebody, it's often something that drives you to do more. It drives you to go beyond what you already are doing. And that might be the beginning step for you to make a big change in your life. So You do not need to be famous to be somebody who can be formative in somebody else's life. Somebody out there is waiting for what you already have gone through, what you've survived, what you know, your culture, your values, your expertise in whatever that is. So just think to yourself, hey, I have 5 minutes that I can give. I can give to somebody who's older than me, younger than me, or the same age as me. I can do it at work, at school, at home, online, wherever I am. So I hope that you'll take a couple minutes today and see if you can impart some knowledge to others so that you can be making impact, and that ripple effect will be long term, and you will be able to feel that as you grow older. So thanks for watching today. Have a great day.